Hey, welcome everybody. We're starting to get some people into the room here already. I want to say, hey, how about that? Kirby Van Birch is the first one into the room this evening. Hey, John Custer, Kirby beat you by just a fraction of a second. John's usually the first one in over here, and Kirby shortly follows, but you guys were on Johnny on the spot here tonight. Thank you guys both for being here. Cheers to each of you. And I appreciate, John, you being like a top fan. You come in every week, and I appreciate you being here then too. Let's see. We're getting ready to, going live, and want to, if you can, just share that as well on your social media as you're watching this, either on YouTube or Facebook. Just go to the Magic Word on podcast page there on Facebook, and there you will see where you can actually, at the bottom, it will say share, and please do. You can share that then to different groups you belong to, as well as to your own page and whatever else. And another sweet lady from Michigan. Hello, Harriet. Harriet is here in the house. Thank you very much, Harriet, again, my love, for being here and joining us this week. It's going to be a lot of fun because we're all friends here together, and it gives us an opportunity really to share this opportunity with a lot of friends across the country and around the world, because we get people in from Australia and from Ireland and just every place. So anyhow, thank you guys. Thank you. Let's see here. I'm going to see if I can share this with some other people on my own page too. Yeah, we're going to be starting in less than a minute over here. We got some, again, exciting guests, and I know that's why you're here, is for us to have a lot of fun. And so, here, that's me. And we got somebody else in here too. Hey, Maureen Hopman. He's in here from Canada. So thank you, buddy. Appreciate you being here as well. Appreciate everybody coming in. The room's starting to get filled up. We've got about to start. I'm getting excited. I don't know about you, but it's coming.
It's Thursday night. You know what that means. It's time for Magic and Martinis. Please welcome your host, Scott Wells.
Woohoo! All right. Which reminds me, I don't know if you ever watched, listen to the podcast and Shat the Movies. That's what they were just doing today, was Dazed and Confused. All right. You know, from Matthew McConaughey up in Austin. A lot of people are joining us already. All there, John Keever. Thank you, John, from Tampa Bay. Looking forward to tonight. Magic Martini. I don't know which I'm looking for more forward to, is just being with you guys and hanging out, or drinking this martini, because now I think I'm going to hang out with you guys. You're much better. Just like my buddy Russell Bruce. Russell was on with us a few weeks ago, and he used to work with Siegfried and Roy. If you haven't heard that episode, I suggest that you go back. It was really, really great. And Jeff Horton, thanks again. He's from out in Connecticut, out on the East Coast, so I'm glad that you're here as well. And just from across town, a little ways, just a mile or two away, got my buddy Jeff Lanes over there. Aloha. That's right, you are about a mile away from you. That's what we say. You should say y'all, I guess, like that. And so, actually it was funny because Kirby and Russell were on the same episode because they worked together. Russell had worked for Kirby then for a while too. Up in Chi-Town, there's one of my best friends right there, Mr. Don Weiberg. And I got to show you, Don, I have these wands right by my desk here all the time. And that's right. Yeah. See, that's, let me set that down. Yeah. One side is magnetic. And he had made these wonderful wands for me, custom made wands. That was from the book of, holy cow, where is that? I've got to show that over here. I've got that kind of handy. That was Judge Gary Brown's book on wandcraft. Thank you, Don. I appreciate that. He's up, again, south side of Chicago. So appreciate that, Don. And my other buddy also, who's doing a wonderful job with helping Franz Harari from week to week. They just celebrated 100 of their episodes on Tuesday night. John, great job. And thank you for the compliment on being on Fran's show. I had just a blast, and I did feel like I was just kind of rambling, and I couldn't believe that you and Franz got so much out of that, and thought that was great. So thank you again very much. There is a lot of stuff actually going on out there. You're welcome, my buddy. And Clark Aldridge, howdy, partner. Always good to see you. You're here every week then, too. Thanks for coming in as well. As I said, a lot of stuff has happened. I want to point out something, by the way, that I want to thank everybody, because look at this. If I had some sort of a big announcement, I would say it. 1,000 subscribers. I want to thank everybody. There we go. Just kind of put my fingers around this whole thing. That way, how's that look? I can kind of, how do I do that? Oh, there we go. That almost looks like I'm putting my hands around that. Anyhow, we had 1,000. We just reached 1,000 subscribers for the pod letter. So I'm so excited that we have done that. And I want to thank everybody for subscribing. That way you get to find out who's going to be in the podcast from week to week, who's on this week and on next week. Today, we just released one with Al the Only. And next week, it's going to be with Alan Kronzik. And we have a contest running for a chance to win the Magic Graveyard book written by Al. Next week, we're going to have a book of Grandpa Magic. Oop, I shouldn't be exposing that. Next week, you'll find out what's going to be given away then as well. Lots of great stuff that's coming up. So, John, thanks very much for the congratulations message on the 1,000 as well. One other thing, too, that some of you had either received today or you may not have read. Or if you got the email, you may not have read it, but I think this is important. We mentioned then up front before we kind of bring on the guests, and that was a notice that we got then from Stan Allen about Magic Live. Specifically, he says, on March 25th, he announced the opening of the registration for Magic Live. At that time, it seemed like we had our ducks in a row, but within a few days, a couple of those ducks fell out of line. We're now dealing with some procedure change at the hotel, as well as the very real possibility that the conventions our size will have restrictions for the foreseeable future. However, exactly how much effect these will have on us, we're working on right now. Hopefully, we'll have answers soon. In the meantime, we're putting 2021 registration on hold for a couple of weeks, and I'll update you as soon as we have more information. So thanks for your patience and understanding. Again, I thought I would just mention that so that way that everybody who has received the email but hadn't opened it and read it, that way you get to hear it here first. And if you hadn't thought about signing up, at least you kind of know a little bit what's happening over there on that. So let's see. Jeff got the same. Yeah. So it went out to everybody who had signed up, I guess, over there in the past. So anyhow, it's kind of a frowny face. I agree. All right, listen, we've got some guests over here, and I've kind of droned on long enough. You get to hear me every week on the podcast, and I want you to hear what my friends have to say here that I brought in. It's a quite eclectic crew. I always thought it was kind of funny whenever I was saying an attorney, an actor, and a street magician walk into a virtual bar. No, really, that's no joke. They really do. And they're going to be here tonight. So let's start off with that attorney. And I'm going to, by background, show you this video. It tells you a little bit about her.
Sara Crasson, who is both a magician and a lawyer, has established herself as the leading authority about the subject of how magicians and magic creators can protect their creations, ideas, routines, products, and everything else that should be their proprietary and intellectual property. Available from Amazon.
Oh, there you go. Sorry, you caught me.
Cheers. Oh my gosh, I have a video.
Yes, you do.
You
didn't even know that, did you?
I didn't know that. When you mentioned in one of your emails to send a video, but it was or that when you show the video, and it was just a little late in the game for me to create something, and I thought, I missed the mark on that one, and oh my gosh, I have a video. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome. Clipped a little bit out of there. That's what part of what I do is my service to my friends over here. So that's why by way of introduction. And so congratulations for all that you have been doing. And I did not mention at the time that you are the resourceress for the SAM. And we're going to have you explain what a resourceress is and what it does. But first of all, cheers to you. What are you drinking, my love?
Oh, well, I went with the M theme, and I'm drinking a lovely Malbec.
Ooh, I love them all back.
Cheers to you, and congratulations on your 1,000 subscribers. That's so exciting.
It is. Thank you very much. It's
in the words of my people, Mazel Tov.
Mazel Tov. That's right. Let's bring on our next guest over here. And so there he is, Mr. Sir Patrick. Hello, Patrick.
Hello there. Thank you for having me on. And can we just mention right off the bat that Sarah has a video?
She does.
I'm just so excited. Thank you.
As they say, mazel tov, Sarah, on having a video.
Mazel tov. Bottle tops to you, too.
Thank you. Thank you, my friend.
All righty. And let's round out this, by the way, Sarah, I think Jeff Lanes wanted just to make sure you knew he was holding his autographed book of Own Your Magic right now as you speak. So,
oh, fantastic!
another one of your fans over there. You're welcome. All right, on his behalf, I'll say that. But let me just get in the next person and get this party started.
Hey guys, Kozmo here. I just finished shooting our At the Table lecture thing, and I'm excited for you guys to see it.
No, this camera, George. This camera right here. Thank you. That's why your kids thought you were an asshole.
Lots of great magic in there, some tabletop matrix stuff.
But I do know this, Chris, that whenever I put my hands over the coins, not like this and not like this, but at the same time, that's when the coins go from one hand to the other. Did you see it go from here to here?
No.
I'll do it for you again. Let's do it again. Watch the coins. Watch. Some serious sleight of hand. Watch. No, I never give it out. It's over here. Go. Watch the coins. It's like a pool shot, right? Off the bank, over here, in the pocket.
I taught some walk-around coin stuff, some card stuff, lots of stuff about controlling audiences. I teach you how I get that coin in my eye. The coin under my foot, and I clap my hands, it flies through the air, and I catch it in my eye. Dang it. Great piece. I promise you, if you do that, you'll keep it forever.
A card and a paperclip, Chris. First thing I did is I put the card and the paperclip in the glass jar. Just leave it here. And just take, and you can select a card and sign your name on the card. Mm-hmm. You got the card? Yeah, and here it is. Kind of makes me wonder what happened to the signed card. Because the very first thing I did was I put this card right here in this glass jar. It was in that glass jar the whole time. I never touched the card. The lid was on it the entire time. So tell me, go ahead and take that. How in the hell? Go ahead. I get your signed card on that paper.
Come on. That's great.
I'm going to put the lid over the glass jar, just like this. Just like this. And I'm going to take the coin. Just watch it real close. Watch it. Right here. Right through.
What?
There he is. Hey, baby face. How are you, Kozmo?
I shaved for you, baby. I shaved for you.
That's smooth. That's smooth. It's almost as smooth as Patrick's head right there. So glad to have everybody over here tonight. This is great. So cheers to you. What do you got over there? A bottle of water? That's great. Or you got vodka in there? You're just in quarantine, cutting back a little bit.
Yeah, I've been drinking too much this quarantine thing. Yeah. So.
Well, the whole idea of what we're doing here during this virtual happy hour is an opportunity for us to really get together. It's really for me, and it's great that other people join in from on the chat line and everything else. But I love getting a chance to talk with you guys because throughout the week, I just look forward to this each week of really getting to back in the room, kind of like the friends we are, to see each other from week to week with somebody different. This is our 44th week, and it's just a lot of fun. And I've hopefully we don't have to do this for another 44 weeks. This is just something. I mean, the podcast will go on, but the virtual happy hour will end. I believe that as soon as it, eventually, it's kind of what I'm thinking. Anywho, my point of going back to what I mentioned about what a resourcerist does, I wanted to ask Sarah again, if you could explain more about what a resourcerist is. I guess that's on the national level for the national SAM.
The resourcerist position.
Yes.
Yes. I was a regional vice president for New York and New Jersey. And once my term ended, I was asked if I wanted to continue to be involved on the national level and how I would like to do that. And I decided that this was what I wanted to do. I wanted a position that would let me do cool stuff and help other people do the cool stuff that they want to do. And so they created a position for me and gave me the title that I wanted, Resorceress, that came with business cards, because I was really excited to have business cards that say Resorceress on them.
Who wouldn't?
I mean, right. And so the job description is deliberately vague, and I get to do cool stuff. So because of the pandemic, I hold a somewhat monthly, social Zoom where sometimes we do magic, sometimes we play games, sometimes we hang out and talk with each other. Sometimes we have guests, special guests who speak.
Who's invited to the shows?
I sent out the invitation for the Sunday social to the entire SAM mailing list. So if
Gotcha.
you're in the SAM, you'll get an email from me quasi-monthly. And the invitation will be in there. If you are not a member of the SAM and you want to come, you're still welcome. But you have to get the link from somebody. So you can email me and I'll put you on the list. You can make a friend in the SAM and ask them to tell you. But everybody's welcome. I'm not a believer in gatekeeping. I am a believer that everybody should come and have a good time.
Yeah.
So I do that. I just got I got an email from somebody, a member of the SAM, who had an idea about a project that he wanted to do. And so I said, okay, what do you need in order to do it? I found him some other people who are excited to do the similar kind of project. I put them together, help them do the project that they're excited about.
That's pretty cool. To try to, as resourcers, to try to actually bond people together and everything like that then too. Yeah. And that was just something that's come up in the last 6 months or so. It's a fairly new position, right?
It's, I think I was appointed last July.
So, has it been that long? Okay.
Yeah.
So it's been a while to try to get your feet wet and your feet on the ground, I should say, really, to determine how you can make the best of this position to include everybody.
Well, and I dove right in. The first project that I started as Resorceress was what we're calling Flavors of Magic now. It is a project to feature the diversity of the magic community. We started it came out of a lot of the discussions that were going on that were started during the Black Lives Matter protests. There were a lot of discussions about artists in all the arts communities that BIPOC, Black, Indigenous, people of color artists weren't getting opportunities and attention and the chance to show their work. And another magician so I was writing about this and saying, what can we in the magic community do, and how when we have a show, a convention, a program, that we should make sure that the people that we're putting up reflect the diversity of the community. And a magician wrote to me and said, hey, we should put on a show. And I said, okay. So we did a series of 7 episodes of a virtual magic series called Flavors of Magic. And we had fantastic performers from all over the world, perform from their living rooms. And we're just gearing up now for phase 2.
That's cool. My buddy Alan Gittleson, who was one of the editors of Banachek's book with me for Psychological Subtleties out in California, he wants to know about the boo. Wait a minute, not the boo. I mean, he means book. That is your about law and magic book on the shelf.
Sure. Okay, so I've got, let's see. I've got which one? There's probably a couple. This one here.
Is there one that says Law and Magic?
This is a series of. This is Law and Magic by Christina, edited by Christina Korkos. This is a collection of essays about the confluence of law and magic, and they use the word magic not quite in the way that we would. So some of it relates to stage magic, but more of it relates to witch trials and, can you sue somebody for putting a curse on you? What rights does a cat who can actually speak have? So it's
Okay.
Lawyers we get bored. We don't always have cool stuff and fun stuff to do. So we find a weird case about whether you can cancel a contract to buy a house if you find out that the house is haunted. So that's what this book is about.
Yeah, that would be really a lot of interest, not just for magicians, or rather for attorneys, but I think for magicians as well. As Alan says, that does sound fascinating. I'd be interested to read that as well. I mean, we can kind of have a whole discussion on about whether you could sue if a house is haunted. When Jamie Salinas and I used to do seances, we would have people sign a thing that basically said, if ghosts follow you, spirits follow you home, we're not responsible for that. In other words, if they go home in their house, something starts happening or a window breaks or something happens and they say, well, the spirit had followed me, we're saying, hey, we have no liability because you signed off on this. So because people believe that stuff, so anyhow, that's a whole different subject. Maybe we can, if we're still doing this in October, we'll have you back and you will research that. We could talk about that
sure.
depth. But I do want to talk about that your other book, which is
seance-based lawsuits. Sure, we can do that.
That's right. Very interesting book, Law Magic. Okay, I wanted to get back on then also. I was going to because many of you might remember seeing Patrick on stage at the Magic Live. I mentioned that at the top of the show about Magic Live this year, and he was working with our dear friend, departed friend, Joni Spina, and as a result of that, he then launched into the Magic Castle and making a dream come true. But prior to that, Patrick has always been an actor, and I wanted to talk. There are so many things to unpack, and I would recommend you go back to the Magic Word podcast, and you could see just type in his name, or you can find it in the archives and listen to a lot more detail for an hour than he and I talk about all of that. But briefly, is there something that you wanted to say and thank Joni and kind of where you went from there? Yes,
actually, as you know, Joni basically launched my magic career. If it wasn't for her, I'm not sure I would have had the guts to pursue magic the way I pursued it now. And I just want to take a moment and just give a shout out to a fellow magician who recently just passed away, who is no longer with us, he was one of the most friendliest guys that anybody would have known. If you went to Abbott's or any of the major conventions, you would have saw him. So I just want to take this moment and raise a glass to Paul Emick, who sadly is no longer with us anymore. So Paul, buddy, this one's for you.
There we go.
So,
he was fairly young. You said he was in his 50s.
He was 55.
And causes unknown.
Well, they're saying natural causes.
Yeah.
The service was today, and we found out last Friday that he passed.
Oh, my goodness.
Yep.
Yeah. So anyway, he was one of my best friends. So I had to take the moment and raise a glass to Paul. So
thank you for doing that.
I'm so sorry.
We need to recognize those who have gone on, because that'll be all of us eventually. So people might recognize us in the not too distant future. We stand on the shoulders of giants. I mean, Koz, for an example, did you work with Cellini? I know you were friends with him and everything.
Yeah, I worked with him for 5 or 6 years. I don't know if people know who he is, but he's a legendary street magician, the best of all of us, probably. A Slidini student. His magic was wonderful and graceful, and I had been reading about him, and I wanted to meet him and see him work so I could steal some stuff from him. Sorry, Sarah, you'll have to defend him. I ended up finding him. It took me 6 months to find him, but I found him. He had arrived in New Orleans, and I went down and met him, and we became fast friends. And I spent 5 years doing magic with him, traveling around and working on projects with him. And he changed my life. He was a wonderful character, a true gypsy. You know, he really was. He was just not a normal person. Great magician, just phenomenal.
His wife had written a beautiful book, and she was on the podcast a while back. And the name escapes me. What was her name that she was with? They were together for years. Yes.
Marianne.
Yeah. Greg's asked about Cellini's linking ring routine. That was certainly a classic, and he had some a lot of work on that.
Yeah, you know, I remember the first time I went down to his house in Greensboro, North Carolina, to visit with him. I did that often, and he says, "I'm doing this magic convention, the Motor City Magic Convention." It was the first time he'd done a magic convention, I think, ever, and in Detroit. And he says, "I'm going to do this, and I'm going to make magicians cry with this ring routine." And I go, "Yeah, make them cry, yeah." Well, and you know, he comes out and he does this beautiful 2-ring routine to music, and it was silent and so elegant and so beautiful, and magicians were crying. As a matter of fact, a few years later, he went back to that same convention, and Daryl was there. Late great Daryl was there, and I was standing next to him, and Cellini was performing Slidini's material. Slidini considered Cellini to be an equal. And I'm telling you, when he performed it,
I didn't know that.
Pardon me?
I said I didn't know that Slidini. I thought so highly of him. He considered him an equal. That's really a testimony.
So I'm standing there, Scott, and I look over, and standing right next to me is Daryl, and I look over at Daryl, and he's crying. I go, "Daryl, what are you? Why are you crying?" And he goes, "Because this is the most beautiful magic I've ever seen." You know, that's how good Cellini was. He was unbelievable. Yeah, what a blessing he was in my life. He changed my life, and I went from having this horrible job and at Cornell University, probably where Sarah went to college, and to be. My mom was so proud. She was always so proud of me that I was this engineer at Cornell University, and then she's aging, and I went to her and I said, "I'm going to leave Cornell and I'm going to become a full-time street performer."
Oh, oh no.
That's what every mother wants to hear.
Man, she was so disappointed in me.
She wanted you to be a stage magician, not a street magician.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. I go back and talk to her, you know, every time I saw her, she goes, "You think you'll ever go back to working at Cornell?" I go, "No, Mom, I really don't think so." Ended up being the best decision I've ever made, making that decision, and, you know, working on the streets of New Orleans and Chicago. It was great. What a great life.
I knew that Cellini, in the book, as I was reading about his life and about how that they went from one place to another and just kind of followed the sun, basically, of whether they were going from San Francisco to New York City to New Orleans, and just kind of wherever the season was, it just kind of were nomads living in the van. Yeah, it was just quite a lifestyle. Yeah. Did you as a street magician decide you wanted to stay in one place and work the street, or did you want to do like Cellini and kind of do the world?
Well, Cellini is, you know, we were both. I mean, that's what Cellini taught me, was how to be free. You know, but Cellini, you know, he didn't have any financial responsibilities. I did. I had a wife and 3 kids when I left Cornell University.
Oh boy!
So it was really important that when I went off on the road, that when I came back home, I had money. And so I would go where I was always welcome. I'd go to New Orleans and I'd spend a month there, and I would just work every day and collect money, and then go home and spend a few weeks at home. So I did travel a lot, and but I always wanted to go where I was going to be successful financially. It was a business to me, and you know, one I loved, but it was a business to me. Yeah. So yeah, that's the answer, I think.
Yeah. Now I know as an actor, you've kind of worked the stage quite a bit then as well then, Patrick, but have you ever done or considered doing any street magic?
I actually started out when I was first starting to learn. I started in magic when I was 10 years old, but it was right around my mid-20s when I really started to take it seriously. I was hanging around, I found a local magic shop run by R.D. Kidwell, and I would just spend my evenings and weekends there. And a bunch of the guys that hung around there did busking on the weekend. So I would follow them to Newport on the Levee, which was a local mall area that allowed buskers, street performers.
Yeah.
And I would watch them. And I tried it a few times. And I just found out that for me, it wasn't a fit. Just because personally for me, I couldn't get it to work for me, for what I like to do. But I have the utmost respect for people that can get out there, do the hat tips, make their hats, and do 3 to 4 shows a day and make their money. So I tried it and just found out. I honestly tried it and I found out really fast it was not for me.
Yeah.
That's actually something that I was working towards when the pandemic started. I was planning on doing some busking this spring or that spring.
Yeah.
Because I thought that would be a way that I could do some more performing and fit with my schedule. I live in New York City. There's lots of opportunity. So that didn't work out, or it's on hold for a little while at least. But my big concern is, quite frankly, I'm a little concerned about safety. So if you have any tips about,
I think you're all right. I mean, I was never attacked. I came close to it once in New Orleans, but I think if you work in a safe area where there's lots of tourists hanging around, and you're obviously a smart person, you know how to handle your money, take care of your money, you're gonna be fine. It's one that they're not interested in attacking you until they find out you have money. Then they become interested. So if you're hiding that money, I think you'd be fine. Interesting. I have some crazy stories of people who are buskers and street performers who have had things happen to them. But for me, I've always been pretty vigilant and cautious. And
does anybody else want to hear these stories? I just don't know whether they'd be interesting. Oh, come on, spill it, man.
Now, I do have a question.
It's long. It's a long story. That's the thing. And I don't know if people want to listen to this long story.
Only if it's got a good payoff.
I don't know if it does or not. It's just a weird thing, with
that lack of certainty.
Sarah,
you got to sell me on it.
I'm going to do it. I'm going to tell the story. But before I do, I do want to offer you my help. I'm going to post my email, and you can email me, and I'll send you some stuff that'll help you on your busking journey. All right.
Thank you. I really appreciate that.
Of course.
I was just quickly going to mention then also that there is someone had also just asked about what the person's name was who had written the book, and I was saying it was Eileen McFalls. There it is that we had back in number 587. It was called No Ordinary Magic. It was on Cellini and her life then with him. And if you go into the chat line, I posted that link to that podcast, and also where you can order the book on Amazon. Have you got that over there? You about to pull it off the shelf there, Sarah?
Oh, no, I was just apropos of the prior conversation. I was doing research, and I have
passing the hat. Oh,
passing the hat.
At first I thought it said passing the gas. So
Patricia Campbell did a study of street performers, and there are graphs in here of Washington Square Park and how performers moved from space to space and where the crowds went. And she did tons of interviews and so on. I am an enormous geek, and so whenever I take on something or I want to learn about something, obviously I go to the library, and so I find somebody who's studied it or written books about it, and that's how I face the world, and I'm okay with that. Some people just go and do. I have to study first.
Well, you know what? I'm in the chat right now, and everybody's. Well, I'm going to post this in the chat. Will this go public to everybody, Scott?
On the side there's thing says private chat. That will not. No, there should be something though. The public chat. Go ahead and post it there and see if it goes. If not, I'll.
Yeah, that's only for you, Scott.
Okay, I got it, and I will copy that.
So I have this project that I do called Real Magic, and Sarah, on the site, and this is welcome to anybody who's watching. For the next 3 days, the site's going to be free for everybody. So you can go in and watch lectures and that kind of stuff. And there's a lot of Cellini material on the site. And there's a 3-series DVD set that we did called The Art of Street Performing. And I think there might be some real value in watching that. Plus, there was a couple lectures that he did on the site. So,
fantastic.
20 years ago. So like in 2001, 2002. So
you want to drive the car?
Looks like I've got my weekend planned.
There you go. There's a lot of stuff there. It'll be on for days. And my email is there too, Sarah. So it's Real Magic Magazine. Username is free and the password is tonight, all lowercase. And then my email, and you're welcome. Anybody's welcome to reach out. I'd love to help them on their magic journey.
Thank you so much.
I just posted that over in the public comments. I extracted that from the private chat. Do you want to drive the car and show us around a little bit on the website?
Yeah, sure. I can do that. If that'll get me out of telling that awful story. It'll scare the hell out of Sarah.
No, wait a minute.
I have a question for Sarah later on.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
So I'm going to share the screen.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Give me just a second. See, we've done this before, so there we go. Entire screen.
And then we'll come back to the story.
Okay.
I want to see Sarah scared.
Can you see that, Scott?
I can, and I'm going to add it to it. Let me know when you're ready, and I'll.
Okay, just let me.
Yep, when you're where you want to be, I'll pop it up.
Okay, so I'm there.
Okay.
So this is my site, and basically, this is like the Netflix of magic. It kind of has that feel. Over on the right-hand side, there's an on-demand login, and the username is free, and the password is tonight, all lowercase. And if you log in, this is what you'll see. Back in 2007, we started a thing called Real Magic. It was a video magazine that came out on DVD. And I know there's Marion Hopman's here today. I saw him when he logged in. He actually has some content in some of the early issues.
By the way, his name is pronounced Marine.
No, Marine. Okay. And he's terrific. So, and I apologize for mispronouncing your name.
No, I've done the same thing.
We started this thing in 2007. It was a video magazine that came out on DVD. We've published 53 of these since we started in 2007. And just to show you how it works, you can click on one of the issues and a player will open up. It's pretty intuitive. This is a play all button right here, and over on the right-hand side is playlist, where you can scroll down and go to any individual segments. Some really great magicians are involved in this. Garrett Thomas is involved in this project, who I think is the best.
Garrett who? Never heard of the guy.
Yeah. Well, I think it's the best close-up magician in the world. I mean, he's amazing. But Doc,
you said he's the new Di Vernon.
Pardon me?
You said he's the new Di Vernon.
Yeah. Well, he's better. And the people from the castle don't want to hear it, but it's likely true. So anyways, there's a lot of great content there. But we also have, if you click on Demand Plus, you can find things like Bobo's. Curtis Cam's doing Bobo's, the Book of Bobo right now. And
really?
Yeah, the entire book, Scott. We're going into chapter 13 right now. We've been working on this for 4 years. There's lectures. Wow. You can watch a lecture tonight or tomorrow or whatever. And there's some great people. Shutagawa and all kinds of Josh Jay's there. All kinds of great content for you. There's coin courses with Kaino Harabato and fingering courses with Garrett Thomas. There's also the Art of Street Performing right here, Sarah, where you can see me moving that around. And
got it. Yeah, thank you.
By Cellini. So all of this, and just this is my plug, is all of this stuff is $5 a month, and there's no long-term commitment. And we update the site every Tuesday night. And there's just tons and tons and tons of great content on the site. But for the next 3 days, it's free to you, and you're free to watch it. And if you like it, let me know. And if you don't like it, let me know. So maybe we can make it better. So I'm going to stop sharing the screen, and I don't know how to do that, Scott. So
got it. Done it.
You did it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that, and I'm looking forward to learning and educating myself some more, and making you regret giving me your email address.
Yeah, and email me tonight with your mailing address. I'll send you some stuff.
Okay, awesome. I will absolutely do that.
I put out a three DVD set a few years ago. It's called Tales from the Streets. It's all about theory on street performing, my view of it, and I'll be happy to send that to you. That'll help you in your journey too.
Thank you. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
At risk of her reneging on her excitement, do you want to go follow through with that story?
Sure. If that's what you want me to do, I'll do whatever you want. There was a
wait. If that's the offer, Scott, can you come up with something better?
I like the way you think. You're a negotiator, aren't you?
I just, hey, I heard the opening. I hear an opportunity, I take it.
Okay, Sarah, sounds like you really want to be an agent in the long run here. And if so, are you taking on clients?
There's a handsome man right there.
Hey, let's talk. We're doing flavors. I never imagined that I would become an impresario, but life takes funny twists and turns.
All right.
Email me and we'll talk.
Well, Sarah, one of the things you'll find out when you work on the street is that people who live on the streets start to think that you're one of them.
The other street performers, you mean, or just street people?
No, just street people. People who are homeless. I mean, you're out there with them every day, and they felt that about me when I was working in New Orleans. That they saw me every day. I was one of them. We had conversations that we knew names.
Mm-hmm.
So I hate this story because it scares people, and.
I will brace my. Would you like me to take my earphones off and step out of the room for a moment?
No.
Would that make you?
So anyway, one day I'll
brace myself.
I was working on this pitch on the corner of Jackson Square on Decatur and St. Pete. I guess that's if my
in New Orleans.
Yeah. And really nice pitch. It was shady there from 1 o'clock in the afternoon on for the rest of the day. And shade is really important to a street performer. Something. We all learn really quickly. Shade is good. The audiences love that. And this particular pitch was a nice pitch, and I would go there at 1 o'clock, and I'd work until 7 or 8 o'clock at night, just do show after show. And but about 7 o'clock, I was working one night. It was a beautiful night down in New Orleans in the French Quarter, and I was working there. I worked until about 7 o'clock at night. Behind me, there was this concrete block that was next to a garbage can. And if I needed to sit down and rest, I would just go back there. And I was, 7 o'clock at night, I walked back there and sat down and just kind of looked off into the ether, and into Never Never Land. And wasn't paying much attention to anything. And a man walked behind me, and he stuck his arm over my shoulder, around my neck, took his thumb, stuck it into my neck. It did one of these, and then just walked swiftly away.
Wow.
Oh my goodness.
And I freaked out. I mean,
Yeah.
I freaked out. I stood up, I ran over to my table. I got my bag of money and my Jim Reiser chop cup, $250.
Get the priorities straight.
That's right. And right next to my table, like 15 or 20 feet away, was this outdoor restaurant. It's right there on the corner. And they had the windows. So I walked over and leaned against the wall, just kind of freaking out and shaking. What just happened to me? Grabbed my stuff, went inside, sat down and had a soda. And I was close enough to my table where I could see my stuff. So I knew it was safe there. And, usually about 7 o'clock at night, I would decide I would do one. Maybe if I'm really tired, I'd do one more show. And that show would decide whether I would go to a really nice restaurant that night or just go to Subway and get a sandwich and a beer. Yeah. So, but that particular night, I had decided, okay, I'm going home because this is crazy. And usually I'd ride a bike out of the French Quarter, but I grabbed a cab that night. And I lived out on St. Charles Street. Near the Garden District. I had an apartment there. And what would happen is that I would go to New Orleans, I'd work for 2 or 3 weeks, I'd collect I'd work like crazy, I'd write down all the bills I had to pay so that I knew I had enough money to cover everything. So when I went home, my wife wouldn't be mad at me for being on the road for 3 weeks and not having any money. But what happened, I was so freaked out of this thing, I just couldn't sleep. I mean, I was having nightmares that was keeping me awake. And I went days without going to work because I just couldn't bring myself to go down there and do it. And finally, one night I said to myself, I said, I'm going home in 3 or 4 days. I've got to go to work. So the next morning I woke up and I grabbed enough money to buy myself a sandwich, a couple bottles of water, and some fruit to do my show. And I went back out, and I was, and I knew that if I was working, that my audience would keep me safe. So I would just do one show after the other. And if I wasn't doing a show and I needed a rest, I'd just go into that restaurant and get a soda and a sandwich or something and sit there and then come back out and work. But what happened is that I'm out there and I'm working. I noticed that across the street, there was this guy sitting on a park bench. And he sat there all afternoon. And I didn't understand why the guy was sitting there. Why would he be there all afternoon? And he was watching me, but he wasn't watching my show. He was watching the end of the show. He was watching where the money was coming from and where it was going.
Right. Which pocket? Yeah. Right.
Yeah. Where's the bag with the money?
Right.
And he was checking everything else. So I'm standing there and I look over at him and I see him. And he looks right directly at me. And then he looks off to my left, his right. And behind me, about 30 or 40 feet, was another guy sitting on a park bench.
Oh, boy.
Oh.
And I stood there and I looked at the one guy across the street and I went like this. And I looked at this guy. I looked at each other. Or I looked at the two of them. And then they looked at each other and they both got up at the very same time, walked together and walked down the street. Never saw him again. The guy who did this in his own psycho, crazy, I live on the street brain was warning me. He was protecting me. He was telling me that I wasn't being vigilant, that I wasn't paying attention to my surroundings. And he was actually the guy who saved me. Because
that's a twist on the story I wasn't expecting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
M. Night Shyamalan with that twist.
Yeah. So yeah, wow. Crazy.
Wow.
I've not heard that story. Well, that doesn't scare you away, does it, Sarah?
Do you want to do it now, Sarah?
Well, I mean, it's a little nerve-wracking, but I think I'm still going to give it a try.
I think you should.
Yeah.
You know, I'm still alive, and I love it.
Be aware of your surroundings. But isn't that the way it is?
There is nothing like this, to be out on a beautiful Saturday afternoon or Saturday evening. Everybody's just had dinner, had a couple drinks. They're walking through Washington Park or whatever, and enjoying the night. And they stop and they watch your show, and you build this living thing out of nothing, right? It's just there's nothing. I've worked in great places on Leno. I've done the Castle many times. But my favorite place to work is on a street corner on a Saturday night on a nice night. You know, there's just nothing like it. It's wonderful, and I hope you go out and you have the same kind of success I had, because it'll change your life forever. You will never be the same.
Well, I think people
so that's a lot. Don't quit your law job, okay? Don't do that.
I'm not quitting my day job anytime soon.
Well, I appreciate you also sharing all the information you have that's on Real Magic that people can go to for free over there at the website you had mentioned. For anybody who got in late, you need to go back through the chat over there, and you can get the website and the password and everything, and go in and research and go forth and do likewise. And also, I have a question along that line, having to do then also, Patrick, with you as far as being an actor. Now, you're working inside where you have been safe, I assume. You've never had any kind of harrowing or horror stories. No?
Not so much as just stuff that's gone wrong on stage during shows and stuff, but like there's magic stories, and there's stories from back in my theater days when I used to do plays and musicals when I was an actor. where, you know, cast members weren't paying attention and there would be suddenly be a set piece come flying at you that the stagehands are trying to move up, or you don't move, there's suddenly a backdrop coming down on your head if you're not moving for a scene change. But I actually had a question for Sarah, because I am curious, very curious about this. In your book, you reference protecting your magic,
yes,
from intellectual property. Now,
yes.
I'm assuming, going back to my theater training, is it along the same lines of copywriting it as a play?
Well, that's certainly one way. That's the way that Houdini tried to protect the water torture cell. It's the way that Teller got some protection for shadows. Yes, I mean, that is one of the most clear-cut ways that you can protect your work is to write a script and get a copyright on that. And that is the clearest cut protection that's available. So yeah, so it was mentioned earlier that yes, I wrote this book, Own Your Magic: A Magician's Guide to Protecting Your Intellectual Property, and I'm actually giving a lecture on it on Monday, to a virtual lecture at Ring 6. And if anybody, yes, that's the Flavors of Magic show. If anybody is interested in attending the lecture, shoot me an email and I will, I'm sure I can get you an invitation. That's the book. And so yes, there are other things that magicians can do. Trademark is actually a very simple, significantly powerful thing that you can do. It doesn't necessarily protect the trick, but it can do a lot to protect your business. So, for example, if you're performing and you have a stage name or the name of your show, it could significantly impact your business if somebody else showed up and started performing under the same name.
Yeah.
If you have registered a trademark on the name of your show, you can stop that.
Yeah, because I was always curious about that, because when I was in college for theater and drama, they drummed it into our heads. If you're going to write stuff, make sure you get the copyright. If you're going to be a playwright, make sure you get the copyright. But then I've noticed once we got into magic, and I'm trying to figure out how to word this, the ethical lines that
magic works. Magic is weird.
I know. It's
magic and intellectual property is so strange because the way intellectual property works out in the world, outside the magic world, is before you've written it down, if we're just talking, if we're workshopping something and it's not written down, no copyright attaches, there's no protection. When I write it down and publish my play, then I have established a copyright over that play. And if you want to perform it, then you have to get a license from me.
Yeah, you got to pay the royalties and pay the ASCAP, and if there's music in it. But yeah. Yep.
The magic world works opposite. In the magic world, if somebody's performing something but hasn't published it, we're not allowed to copy it. It's not available yet. It's their proprietary work. In the magic world, once you've printed it in a book and sold the book or published it in a magazine, we understand that if I see a trick described in a magazine, it's, with all the instructions, I'm now allowed to perform it. That comes with permission. And that's just what we've come over centuries to expect, that if I buy the book, I'm allowed to perform all the magic that's in the book. It's exactly the opposite of how copyright works out in the world.
Yeah.
But if you see somebody perform it, you can't copy it if it hasn't been published.
That's the ethic in the magic community. Yes.
Well, ethics and law are different, though.
Ethics and law are they're
very different.
They're different ends of a continuum. I think of it as a continuum of conduct. And on one end of the continuum is conduct that's so bad that as a society, we have said that if you do this, we will take your freedom. If you hit somebody over the head with a 2x4, that conduct is so bad that society will punish you by putting you in jail. A little bit further along is conduct that, it's bad, but we're not, the government is not going to punish you, but the person that you injured now can make a claim against you and get justice. So, if you break into my house and steal my computer, please don't do that. That's a jailable offense. If you copy my data and take my intellectual property, the government's not going to punish you for that, but I have a claim against you. And the law gives me that, because as a society we've said that it's worth it to us to punish that. Then you continue along the continuum a little further, and then the way that I like to think about it, we have ethical rules, things that you shouldn't do that we might discourage among us as a society, because there are rules that we can create that if we follow these rules, it will encourage the kind of society we want. And so, for example, if we want to encourage a magic community where people create new magic and invent stuff and perform wonderful work and then teach it to the rest of the community and make more product and content available to us, then we need to reward those people. Because as we've learned, there are wonderful creators who have left the magic community and stopped creating new material because they got tired of seeing their work ripped off. So we have this ethical rule that says we should buy the book or the trick from the person who originated it and not the person who copied it.
I think everybody's wanting to jump in here. I've got a question,
Yeah,
but
go ahead,
Patrick, you go first.
I was about to say, I was going to piggyback off of what Sarah said there, because there have been a lot of creators within our community that has stopped creating simply because they were getting ripped off or pirated.
Yeah.
Especially from overseas. And what Sarah's talking about, I think, is fine for U.S. law, but wouldn't necessarily
apply to China,
translate to international law.
Yeah.
Because it's a catch-22.
Well, the thing is, the knockoffs are, most of the time, they're not prohibited by law. Because, I mean, that's, you
mean if you sell a Gucci bag that's been a knockoff, that's okay?
Wait. Okay, there are two different things. So if you sell a product like, there's a great example, Losander and the floating table.
Yeah.
If I create a table that floats, and it's my design and it looks like a different kind of table, it's just a table and it floats, and I sell it as, Sarah's amazing floating table on my website that has a picture of me and my table, and that's legally okay, because Losander doesn't own the idea of a floating table. The problem is that what happens is these sellers, they copy the table and then they use art to sell the table of Losander and the table that he created. And so it looks to the customer like they're getting an actual Losander floating table.
Ah, gotcha.
For cheap. And so they're pretending that it's his.
So
and
that
then
would buy
the customer's not
under
happy.
bait. That would go under the bait and switch laws.
Bait and switch. There's it's a trademark infringement. I mean, there are a variety of claims that Losander could make against them. But if they were to sell it as a floating table and not his floating table, that's competition. We encourage that in this country.
Right. My question is something that I can't believe the cause has been so silent during this whole conversation, because with real magic, as I understand it, correct me if I'm wrong, buddy, but you told me before about how that within 24 hours when you used to put out the DVDs, they would be copied and there would be 8,000 copies within a few days of your digital magazine.
No, yeah.
And that's completely illegal, I would imagine, but there's no way of trying to enforce the law for that.
We put out a product from Justin Miller a long time ago, and download sites on the internet. I mean, a day later, you would see 110,000 downloads of this thing, and then downloaded 100,000 times.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. It's brutal. And that's why a lot of people, just Sarah was talking about, they've just walked away. They're not creating magic anymore. That, John Cornelius was a guy who walked away.
Yep.
Said, I'm never doing this again.
Yep.
I was at a bar one night with John, and he's showing me these wonderful creations that he has that no one will ever see. And now he's gone, and they're gone. And those wonderful, because magicians are idiots, lots of times, and they just steal stuff. I mean, but that happens in every industry. I'm in China, and I was walking down the street in China when I was touring there, and there's this guy selling DVDs of a Hollywood movie that just came out like days ago, and it's it's still in the theaters, and they've got DVDs of it for sale on the street. So this stuff is happening a lot, and it's so easy to rip a DVD these days. You need the software, your computer does it. This is it's brutal, and I'm in that business.
Yeah, it's terrible, and there's no easy answer. With a reputable U.S. based website, there are ways to get stuff taken offline, but so many of the sites that are doing this are based in Russia and China and in places that, they don't really care about U.S. law, and they're not scared. So, you can't just send them a letter and have them take it down.
I think
so. Because the magic community is relatively small and the market is relatively small, I am hoping that we can encourage each other to make decisions that will encourage the people to that make the content that we want to keep doing it. And we do that by rewarding them. If you see a street performer that you like, you want to encourage them, you put some money in the hat. Why should it be different? We want to encourage the people who are leaders in our community and teachers in our community to keep doing that. Well, we need to show them love, and we need to do that by buying their product and
original products. Right.
Yeah.
As a guy who has produced 150 products, and when I said magicians are idiots, I mean not all magicians are idiots. There are wonderful
# not all magicians.
Yeah.
There are wonderful magicians out there that support and are honest, and they want to buy from the creators, and because they understand this, and I think that that's why I keep working and creating that stuff. That part of my magic career is because I know that there are going to be some good guys out there that are respectful and are going to do the right thing. And
I like to think that's the majority.
I love listening to you talk about this stuff. That's why I was being quiet. I never listened to anybody for very long. I like to hear myself talk. So that's great.
Then I take that as a great compliment.
Yeah, that's great stuff. That's great stuff.
It's like now I'm curious about this, Sarah. Kaz is a phenomenal street guy. I'm a stage magician.
He's a legend.
What type of magic tickles you?
I do a little bit of everything. I like to ride the line, the nexus in the Venn diagram between whimsical and pompous.
I like that. Wow. Can I quote you on that? I'm going to take that.
Yes. If you can pull it off, you can use it. I do a little bit of everything. I do some close-up. I have a small stage act that I do with a partner. And I've really leaned into working on more magic. I'm during the pandemic, I had a little more free time. So I've been working on a lot of new material. I do a little bit of everything. I am just really passionate about magic.
All right. I was just curious because I know Kaz. I know it. Yeah, I know what Kaz does. I know what I do. I know what Scott does. I was just curious on what tickled you. What was your area?
I'll send you. I'll send you some links.
Okay, fair enough.
You can see what I do.
Fair enough.
Sure, absolutely.
That sounds great. Well, listen, I want to thank everybody for being here. This has been just looking up at the top of the hour. Actually, we're past the top of the hour, which is fine because I think we just had last call from the barmaid here. So going to have to start wrapping it up. But I want to thank everybody again for showing up here this week. Man, we could go down each one of these areas and spend an hour with each of you or longer, certainly. And Koz, I agree with you. I'm just enraptured by listening to the stories you're telling, but also the wisdom that Sara is telling. And I know that you've lectured at different magic conventions like Magi Fest and others where I've heard you in the past. And I love getting together with you. I'm glad I had a chance to get together with you tonight, as well as with Patrick over here, because usually it's at Magic Live or someplace, maybe at Magi Fest where I see you. Koz, I see you at all the conventions, usually as a dealer, and look forward to us all kind of getting back in the real world here again real soon. And I appreciate you guys being here. Yeah, John, as you said, he enjoyed Sara's insight. Boy, so did I. I think everybody had really appreciated that. It was really, really enjoyable. Tom Gentile, who's going to be he's the incoming, as you know, president for the SM, coming up behind Batman Zarinsky.
And who's going to reappoint me resourceress, right, Tom?
Yeah, Tom's going to have to reappoint her.
There.
Maybe he will jump back over here.
Hey, I ask, does everybody have their vaccines? Do you have your vaccines? Everybody vaccinated?
I'm one shot. I'm waiting for my second dose.
Good. Yeah, everybody go get your vaccine. Don't let this pandemic rob any more moments from your life.
Please.
I like what you said, by the way. You mind kind of saying that way? We were talking about earlier, if I can kind of share this. I was saying to Koz as we were doing a tech check earlier today about how we are in this period of life, he and I, where it's like your go-go years, then your slow-go years, and your no-go years. And right now it's the go-go, where you have the time and a little bit of money to go and do something. Well, and also the health. And as we get a little bit older, it's kind of like, well, I've already been there, done that. I might not go there again. And so it's a little bit slower. And then finally it's like, no, I've already been there and won't do that. So we're being robbed of that time. But you said something I thought was very insightful, as usual. What was that, Koz?
I think that I'm 64, and I know that there's a lot of things that are going to be the last time for me over the next years. When you're 35 years old, you're a magician, you're a performer, you've got a whole lifetime of shows that you're going to do and performances that you're going to do. But when you get to be about 65, 70 years old, you start thinking about, you don't have that many left.
Slowing down a bit.
And this pandemic has taken, life isn't about time, it's about moments. That's what makes life great, is moments. And this pandemic has stolen so many moments from me and from you, Scott, and for some of us older guys who still want to perform and go out and work. And if everybody just goes out and gets their vaccine, we'll stop them from stealing any more moments from us. We want to. I want to go out and do what I love the most in life, and do shows. I miss it deeply. I know we all do. And
but it's made up of moments. I just think that's beautiful. It's not the time, it's not the years, it's not the days, but the moments. Whenever that you see a leaf fall from a tree, I mean, just something as innocuous as that, and just enjoying the flow of water, or just whatever. I mean, just each day, the laughter and again, the friendship that we enjoy, and opportunity for us to be here tonight, and all the people who have joined in tonight. And I thank everybody for coming in, and for, big peach for you also. Or is that an apple? Or is that a peach? What is that?
That's my heart, baby.
I know. It's beaten for me too. I appreciate that. Next week, by the way, this is going to be kind of fun. I have the past 40 plus weeks have had on 3 guests, and I'm going to narrow that down next week to 2 guests. And this will be a little bit different. I'm going to be having on Mike Caveney and David Charvet, who are collectors, and they have a deep knowledge of collecting. And we can talk with either one of them for probably hours on end. If you are a collector, you will enjoy that. If you don't, you will still enjoy it.
And if you want to see Mike Caveney's collection, you can see it on Real Magic, because he is on the cover of Real Magic, issue number 9. and we toured this collection. So yeah,
and you can go and watch that for free for the next few days over there
right now.
Right now at Real Magic. Yeah. Now, where was that again?
There, I wasn't plugging it. I was just letting people know. So, I hope everybody goes and takes advantage of it.
I hope they do, because there's a lot of really good stuff in there. I mean, I'm here to plug my podcast, but also all of the stuff that you've got. And I really didn't get a lot of chance also to talk more about the stuff that that you were selling. Then also, Sarah, hold on just a minute. Let me pull that back up over there again. It was going to be where is it? ownyourmagicbook.com.
Yes.
Okay.
That's my book, available on Amazon and through your favorite magic retailer.
Great. And also I wanted to mention, Patrick, I'm sorry, we didn't really talk a whole lot about this, but I wanted to get more into it was not necessarily your Trick the Show, which
That's
is
for my personal magic show. That's for my 70-minute theater show that I do.
okay.
Trick the Show. But the other thing is something I actually started up during the pandemic. This has been a dream project of mine for over 5 years.
And I so apologize. We kind of got off on a tangent
Oh,
over
you're
here. But
fine.
can you talk about this just a little bit? I think this is really important.
Well, what I did was, this was a dream project of mine for over 5 years. I'm combining my theater background with my magic, and I formed my own vaudeville troupe. It's myself and 3 other actors. I'm the only variety artist, so I'll be hosting the shows and being the MC of the show and doing the magic, and the other ones will be doing comedy sketches, singing, dancing. I'll be doing a little bit of each, but we are called the Queen City Vaudevillians because we are all in Cincinnati, Ohio, and we're known as the Queen City, so we dubbed ourselves the Queen City Vaudevillians, and we are currently doing once a month online Zoom shows. And our next show is coming up April 24th.
All right.
And so you can go to queencityvaudevillians.com to get tickets. And then once it's deemed safe to do so, we will transition over into a live stage show.
Okay.
With a theater that is yet to be named. So we're still looking for venues and.
So right now, each of you are doing it from your individual homes,
Yes.
obviously, in the process of this Zoom meeting.
Yes.
Have you been doing any Zoom shows at all, Kaz, just real quick?
No.
Sarah, anything with you? Sarah,
Well, I've nothing is coming up in the next couple of weeks, but we're getting started on Flavors of Magic Phase 2. You can see everything in our Flavors of Magic original series at, there it is, flavorsofmagic.com.
Okay, perfect. Again, thank you guys very much. A lot of stuff that we imparted here with everyone, and it has flown by and just had a really wonderful time. So, okay, so reinsert the connection. Somebody wants to know about Real Magic again. Who would want to know that again? No, really. There you go. realmagicmagazine.com.
Username is free. Password is tonight. All lowercase.
Yes, and if you go back in, let me see if I can. See if I can find that in the.
There you go. I just sent it to you.
Right there. Is that right?
Yeah, username free. Passwords tonight. All lowercase. There's my email in case somebody.
Yep, CosmoMagic@me.com, username free, all lowercase, and that's realmagicmagazine.com. So you'll get that. And how long will that run? For about a week, few days, or what?
3 days. 3 days.
3 days. Okay. So jump on that while you can. You got the weekend here to enjoy just a ton of stuff over there. So go and do that today. All right. Well, listen, that has been nothing short of, again, another grand and glorious show with a lot of fun and a lot of friends, not just here in the bar. Where's my martini? Well, it's getting low. I guess that's another reason I just need to go down and get another one. Shake them on up a little bit.
And the most important thing, I have a video.
Yes, Sarah has a video here.
Yes, she does.
Made the entire show for her. We're seeing her face and that popped on.
You're somebody.
I feel so important.
Well, not everybody can have a fancy title, so.
If you guys want to hang around, I'm going to take everybody down off of the screen. If you want to hang around for a couple of minutes after the show's over, we're not going to all disappear, although I'm going to end the broadcast then right now. And but I'm not going to say goodbye to you guys until if you want to hang out for just a few more moments. But until then, I'm going to say that was Sir Patrick, that was Kozmo, and Sara Crasson, and this is Scotty out.